I'm Bafana Skosana. I am a social worker. Then I have a master's in occupational social work.
My name is Charity Maluleke. I am a social worker by profession, but I'm also a client relationship manager at ICAS.
Hi, my name is Navlika Ritanji and I am the Managing Director for ICAS Southern Africa. My background is that of a clinical psychologist, but I also have a degree in business.
We all know the significance of getting good health. We all know that. We all know that we have got to eat healthily. The problem is we don't exercise, we don't practice what we preach. And then you find that a lot of people then will eat junk food. A lot of people will just be comfortable with not exercising, being comfortable in their own spaces and not doing what they know that they're supposed to do. And that's a huge problem. Remember that psychology is a matter of understanding your mind, understanding your emotions and how everything works together, right? Immediately when you exercise, that means you are keeping your body active and therefore allowing your mind some space to relax. Immediately when you don't do that, then your body becomes a little bit lazy and your mind tends to overthink.
So a healthy lifestyle, I am an advocate of that. I try to also implement it myself, but sometimes it doesn't always work out because sometimes I just feel like there's not too many hours in the day, but that is fine. But what is important is that you're always trying to do the little things. It doesn't mean that you need to spend 5 hours at the gym and eat like green things and so forth, but it's just little changes that you need to make for yourself. What time do you go to bed at night so that you make sure that you're fully rested for the night and be able to take on the next morning? And when you wake up in the morning, what's the first thing that you do? Do you wake up in the morning, first thing you do is look on your phone, go on social media, or go onto your emails and get triggered by those anxieties? Or do you need to ease yourself in the day? I'm one of those people, I need to ease myself. I get up. For some people, it might be praying. Other people, it might be meditation. Other people might be even doing a little bit of yoga or exercise and then working into your day to say, okay, now I can start. I'm feeling fully rested. I can take on the day. And also during the day, I'm not saying that you need to eat your greens and everything like that, but little things like how many times am I eating throughout the day? Do I give myself an opportunity to have breakfast, to have a snack, to have lunch, to have a snack and then dinner, you know? Or do I find that I'm so consumed with my work and then 4 o'clock hits and I actually haven't eaten the whole day? Those are the things that can really contribute to how grumpy you're feeling and in the long run actually affect your mental health.
Human beings are not simple. There's many facets to well-being. There's many dimensions to well-being. And we need to understand that we need to pay attention to each of those areas to ensure that we are feeling like thriving human beings. So we can't just say we follow a very strict diet and we watch what we eat and so we're taking care of our well-being. Healthy lifestyle is really about taking care of all aspects of well-being and, you know, looking at different literature. Some suggest there's 6 different dimensions of well-being or 7 or 8, depending on the different sort of sources of literature that you look at. Whatever the split is in terms of the actual material that you might be looking at, I think the point that's being made is that we gain our energy from different sources. And there's not just one area that is going to provide you with a sort of renewable source of energy all of the time. And we need to seek some kind of balance, and I use the word balance very carefully because balance doesn't suggest we need equal amounts of everything, because that's not true. What I am suggesting in terms of the word balance is that we need to be looking at the source of energy that we are providing ourselves with and how we renew our levels of energy across the different areas of well-being. So living a healthy lifestyle needs to be considered in a holistic framework. because I think that's when we can really live our true selves. I want to share one stat with you, and that is around the relationship between physical well-being and mental health and well-being. In the cases that we see in specific, which correlates to the broader trend that is seen more globally, up to 70% of people struggling with physical well-being issues, there's a correlation to mental health struggles. And I think that positions quite clearly the link between our physical health and well-being and our mental health and well-being. Again, that's just one example, because there's different areas of well-being, different dimensions that we need to look at. And all of those areas impact on our mental health and well-being. So depending on how well we're taking care of that area of well-being, it will then have a positive or negative impact on our mental health and well-being. That's why something like substance abuse is not just as simple as a chemical dependence on a substance. It infiltrates how we live our lives. It infiltrates all the areas of well-being. So for example, if you think about substance abuse and our social relationships, which is one area of well-being, there's such an enmeshment there about who is the company that we keep, how that impacts on our use of substances. Where are some of the relationships that have been negatively impacted as a result of our substance use? Sometimes we don't recognize if we have a substance abuse problem, and it's actually people in our social circles that are saying, I think you have a problem with X, Y, and Z, with alcohol, with drugs, whatever it is. So I'm again just sort of mentioning one example of the close relationship between all the areas of well-being, how that contributes to an unhealthy lifestyle if it's not in check, but at the same time, how they can all manifest in mental health concerns. Substance abuse is just one manifestation of a mental health concern at play, or a mental illness that is potentially diagnosable depending on your level of substance abuse and relationship with that substance in particular. So it really is about keeping all of the dimensions of well-being in check in order to maintain healthy lifestyles. And when it's not in check, we run the risk of that manifesting in an unhealthy lifestyle.
So with unhealthy lifestyle, I always say that everything needs to be in moderation. This includes eating. This also includes with drinking. You can't, for example, say that you're going to be drinking like crazy alcohol on Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, and Monday you're going to come to work and feel refreshed. You're going to feel exhausted. And it's only really Tuesday, Wednesday that's when you're only really getting, okay, the gist of work, and then it's the end of week again. So it's also like looking at your lifestyle in terms of how much alcohol do I take in. With regards to drugs, obviously that's always a no-no. If you're finding yourself functioning with drugs, I'm talking even about sleeping pills. I'm not an advocate for sleeping pills, because what usually happens in that case is that you might wake up very exhausted. At some point, you can get addicted to it. At some point, you also might find that they're not working and you need a higher dosage, and it just doesn't work out. So you start becoming dependent on it. And it's the same thing with obviously illegal drugs. The illegal drugs obviously is there to always constantly try and pull you back in. So it has its repercussions. We know this. We've seen it in our young celebrities that have passed on because of drugs. Substance abuse is a no-no, just generally. But if you feel that you are using, it's important that you reach out for help so that you're able to get that professional help in terms of getting yourself out of that.
The question is, why then do people not do this thing? Right? People lack discipline. People are not taught of discipline from an early age. So by the time they become adults, they really are simply clueless. They don't know how to do what needs to be done, even though they don't feel like doing it. So people need to be taught discipline, because should you start doing these things, exercising and eating healthily, then your mental health is likely to improve. And when you feel better about yourself, then you can do more and you can avoid really many of the challenges that most people come across with.